Alright, hi YouTubers. This is going to be a video on changing a thermostat for a 97 GMC Safari. Of course, it's going to be the same for all the generations. And just realized this thermostat's made in Israel. That's kind of cool. So, I will not be showing you the actual run time of how I'm taking apart things, but I'll point out what I'm doing and just fast forward. The other thing that you guys might have noticed is in all my other videos I do not use gloves because I really like to use my bare hands. So this is called Pre-88. This is what I use to protect my hand, and it's basically, I don't know if it's correct to say it's animal grease. Oh no, it's a glycerin base. Sorry, there you go. And that's what I rub on. Basically, it clings to your hand, and it feels, doesn't really feel too tacky. This is how the stuff looks like inside, and you just rub it on, and basically what that does is, going back to my desk job on Monday or something like that, I won't be covered in grease and dirty fingernails and everything. Of course, the other trick there is don't cut your fingernails before working the car and cut it afterwards. But I just wanted to share, this is what I use, and it washes off with just water. It also gives a small barrier protection against some of the heat, believe it or not, for me at least. So I just wanted to share. Alright, so of course to get to thermostat, which is all the way down there, and I don't know if the GoPro's gonna show it, you gotta take off something. So in my case, I have an cold air intake. These are all 8mm sockets, so I'm gonna remove that all and continue on and show you guys some more. Alright, so also for me, I have a 11mm bolt here to take off the intake. The other thing is, if you're concerned about being a klutz or whatever, your electrical connectors, so the IAT and the mass airflow sensor right here, you can just use some painter's tape or a cloth, or in my case I just use the pigtail in the back and clip it to the vehicle. I know I'm not going to splash it wet, but if you're concerned, cover it. Now the other reason why I'm doing this small clip here is, once you take off your filter box, or in my case I have a cold air intake, this is the bit I want to show you guys, because if you've never taken it off, it's always nice for someone to show you. This is actually sitting on the back, so you got to reach back there and it just unscrews. It's got, GM's giving you these nice tabs on it. Make sure you hold on to it, because you see it's not connected. You're gonna lose it in there if you don't hold on to it. And this just tilts on up and out, and this is why. So again, this is the front, of course, and here's those clips. So of course later when we put it in, you're going to be slotting it in like this because of these clips, okay? And of course there's the little tube that goes on the side and pull it out. Alright, so with that out of the way, I'm not sure if you guys can see, but my thermostat is right there. It's connected to this hose down into here. So I'm going to point to one of the two bolts for the thermostat, and the other one is over here. Now, no, I did not remove the hose yet because I already noticed a possible problem. I'm going to move this hose away so the GoPro can see it, and that's a long bolt. The bolt in the back over here, I'm not going to have any difficulty getting at. In fact, I already loosened it. Now this bolt over here, the long bolt, well, your normal sockets, oh by the way, the back bolt is a 14 millimeter and the front one is going to be a 13. If I use my deep socket, what happens is it's literally about this much too tall for me to tuck it in underneath this bracket here, which goes to the throttle body. And I was looking at removing that, and well, that's going to be a pain to remove too. I don't remember, because I think when I modified the throttle body plate, I was cutting off the little round bit in there so then the airflow can be better. I think I removed the whole entire assembly, and I did that from the doghouse. Alright folks, so this is actually the next day, because as I mentioned I had to go get a new tool. There's the opening. Hopefully it'll show up on the GoPro, and I'm just going to use my little pointer stick here. So this is where your thermostat was inside, and this is the front bolt, the back bolt, and now to show you guys the bolt, because that's what's going to help you guys when you're doing this change and repair. So these are the bolts that you're pulling out, and this is why you need that deep socket, but not too deep. And I'll just show you guys the new one versus my old one. So this is my original one from Craftsman. This one's the one from Motormaster. So this is about 6.5. This is 4.5 centimeters. Sorry, that's centimeters. what is that in inches? I think like an inch and a quarter or inch and a half difference, and that's what was the big game changer for me, to be able to take it out without hitting that bracket that I showed you guys. So I kind of stand corrected on the rear bolt, okay? This is my front bolt, and as you see, I've kind of stripped it a little bit, so I really should go get a new bolt in the event that I have to change this again, that I can get it out easily. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch this to the back for now, since I don't have this, obviously. That way, if it does get stuck, it's easier to replace. Well, this was for the grounding cable that I was showing you guys earlier, and this is a size 14 that sits on top. But once you remove it, I found out that both the bolts actually holding down thermostats are indeed 13 millimeter old thermostat. If you're lucky that it is positioned in a way that you can stick something underneath and pull it out, you can. Otherwise, you can kind of see I damaged the old one, but I don't care because I have a new one. I used a vice grip just to cramp it, and the coolant is forced to go through here, which is really stiff, to come through when it needs to cool down. Of course, when your vehicle is warming up, or let's say winter, which was my problem, to stop it so that the coolant only circulates in the engine block so it can heat up quicker or up to operating temperature and give you that hot air you need during winter, which I was not getting. When we were driving out to Big White, for those of you who are Canadian or American and know where Big White is, it's in Kelowna. We were in negative 26, negative 28 Celsius weather, and this vehicle could only get up to about 68 to 72 Celsius. So I got to convert that to Fahrenheit. I need my phone for that, but anyways, you guys can just Google that. This is the new one, and again, because I have a new one, that's why I scripted it. If you want to test if your old one is working or not, that's why I had mentioned you can use this and pop it in and pull it up very gently, okay? Just wiggle it a little bit, don't force it, just wiggle a little bit because of this seal, right? It'll come loose. Here's the new one. You can see it's going to allow a lot more flow quicker, which I really appreciate, because I'll need that for summertime. When we went up to Kelowna during summertime, and I was in the best case scenario here where my thermostat was stuck open, which meant it was circling throughout the whole system, because otherwise during summertime I would have overheated had I not done this job sooner. I really want to make sure that there's maximum flow, because I was hitting 104 to 106 Celsius. Mind I say I was driving probably a little quicker and had a heavy load. So this is a new one. Sorry, the old one. If you want to test this, you can pop this in a pot in your kitchen and boil it, and if it does work, it should pop open. So, pretty easy. Put it back in, 2 bolts. Had I not run into that problem, this job, probably including topping back up the coolant, 45 minutes, probably even less than that, because it's literally removed the air intake, as I mentioned, and a few other things, right? Just little tiny things, mainly the air intake, the throttle body, and the bolt for the ground, and then 2 bolts. So it's a job you can do yourself. Alright, I'm not going to show you guys the rest of the video, because it's just putting it back in, reassembling, topping it up, burping out the system, and we're done. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, ask below. Alright, just burping out the system now. Forgot to show you guys. See, this with the pre-88, okay? It's very clean now. All I did was just use water. That's just little bits that I haven't washed off. And I didn't rub it under my fingernails good enough, and that's why it's still dirty, but if you do, it'll be pretty clean. So that's with the pre-88. Alright folks, so here we are, idling, and it's maintaining at 89, 90 Celsius. And it's working. It's great. I have hot air now for my fall and winter time for Madeline. Temperature outside today is 20 Celsius or 68 Fahrenheit. In the past, when I was just idling, I would only see about 54 Celsius, which is great. It means that big clutch fan that I have there that's robbing power, and that's why I don't use it in the Camaro. Anyways, it's keeping the vehicle very, very cool. And that's because, again, my thermostat was stuck open. With it stuck open, it'll never close off and build that heat that I need to get up to operational temperature. By operational temperature, my problem was even at 22, 24 Celsius, driving around on the highway, I would only see about 74 Celsius. And if I don't get up to that operational temperature, what's going to happen is not only do I burn rich in this truck, it's a 4.3 liter V6, and I also, unfortunately, will be getting carbon deposits, most likely. But considering how I like to drive, a little bit on the speedier side and revving it up kind of high, which is what I did. I went for a quick run and kept it in second gear on the highway and was keeping it at about 4,000 RPM. This thing only shot up to about 92, 93 Celsius, and then, you know, once I popped it into overdrive, meaning the fourth speed on this truck here, it would drop down to about, you know, 87 and then rise back and maintain around the 90 Celsius. And that's awesome, because that's what you want. So again, this was a very, very easy job, and if you have any questions, please ask below. Thank you for watching. Ciao.